For the last few months, we have seen tensions between India and Canada soar over the issue of Khalistan, and now there has been an attack within the Golden Temple complex. I'm Barkha Dutt. You're with the Mojo Story. The country woke up to these shocking images of a man that police officials say is linked to Khalistani militant groups taking aim at Sukhbir Badal, the Akali Dal leader, who was offering what are called penance prayers at the Golden Temple. On the instructions of the Akal Takht, several leaders of the Akali Dal have been offering these penance prayers to atone for what the Takht has decided were their mistakes while the Akali Dal was in power. But beyond the larger conversation around these atonement prayers and the idea of sacrilege, sin, and penance, and these are some of the images of leaders offering these penance prayers, what has happened today at the Golden Temple has to be seen in the context of the larger tension, particularly between India and Canada over the last few months and the brazen threats by the man you see on your screen, Gurpatwant Pannun. The shooter who took aim at Sukhbir Badal today has been, according to the Punjab police, linked with terror groups like the Babbar Khalsa. He has also been responsible for a prominent jailbreak in the state and has been underground till he surfaced today and was contained and thankfully restrained from causing any damage to the life of Sukhbir Badal. But what we're actually talking about is an assassination bid in the complex of the holiest shrine, not just for Sikhs, but for so many of us who go to the Golden Temple to seek serenity and offer prayers. How do we understand what's happening in Punjab? How do we locate it within the larger context of the increasing tensions between India and Canada over the Khalistan question and over the question of patronage to Khalistani groups? Let me introduce our panel on the program today. Joining us on the program is Yashovardhan Azad, who's of course been a veteran IPS officer. Can we fix the shot? Thank you. And also joining us is Chander Dogra, who's of course a senior journalist based out of Punjab. Also joining us from the Akali Dal is its leader and spokesperson, KP Sharma. Namaskar and welcome to the program, sir. And also joining us is one of the foremost, and I would say the foremost political analyst out of Punjab, Professor Pramod Kumar. Welcome to the program. All of you, I want to get first comments. What we have seen is shocking. Sharma ji, I think I should start with you. It's your party leader who was the subject of an assassination attempt. Thankfully, Badal ji ठीक ठाक हैं. इस समय क्या मतलब क्या सोच रहे हैं आप लोग? क्या लग रहा है? घबराहट भी होगी, थोड़ी रिलीफ भी होगी that he's all right.
देखिए, एक ये श्रोमणी अकाली दल के अध्यक्ष पर हमला नहीं है. ये मैं समझता हूं कि दरबार साहब की आस्था पर हमला है, क्योंकि अटैक उस व्यक्ति पर हुआ है जो अकाल तख्त के हुक्म के तहत वहां सेवा कर रहा है. उस सेवादार पर हमला हुआ है, सुखबीर सिंह बादल पर हमला नहीं हुआ है. और मैं ये समझता हूं, जो हम काफी पहले से चर्चा करते आ रहे हैं कि ये एक जो अकाली दल का स्टेट का जो है पार्टी, ये स्टेट की पार्टी को खत्म करने की बहुत तकड़ी गहरी साजिशें चल रही हैं. और ये भी उस साजिश का हिस्सा है कि श्रोमणी अकाली दल को लीडरलेस भी किया जाए, इसको खत्म भी किया जाए. देखिए, तो उसकी कृपा हो गई है कि वो बच गए हैं. अदरवाइज आज कोई चांस नहीं था. जितनी पास से गोली चली है, जितनी मुस्तैदी से उनका जो गनमैन है, जो सिक्योरिटी वाले, उन्होंने उनको बचाया है. मैं समझता हूँ कि परमात्मा की कृपा ही हुई है उन पर. अदरवाइज आज हम ये चर्चा कुछ और तरह की होती जिस तरह के हालात वहां बने थे. और ये खाली श्रोमणी अकाली दल के लिए नहीं, ये पूरे पंजाब के लिए, पूरे देश के लिए एक बड़ा डेंजरस मैसेज है, जो मैं समझता हूँ इसको हर एक को नोटिस लेना चाहिए. इसका हर पार्टी को नोटिस लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि वैचारिक मतभेद हो सकते हैं. डेमोक्रेसी में वैचारिक मतभेद स्वाभाविक है, परंतु इस तरह के अटैक होने और खासकर दरबार साहब में अटैक होने, एक श्रद्धा के केंद्र में अटैक होना, मैं समझता हूँ कि इससे खतरनाक, और ये जहां वहां की नाकामी है, मैं समझता हूँ कि पंजाब सरकार का टोटल फेलियर ये साबित हुआ आज जो ये गोलीकांड हुआ है.
आपने कहा कि ये सिर्फ बादल साहब पे नहीं, ये एक पूरा जो एक सेक्रेड सीट है ऑफ सिखिज्म, उस पे हमला है, ये धर्म पे हमला है, ये फेथ पे हमला है. लेकिन सवाल उठता है क्यों? आपको क्यों लगता है कि बादल साहब को इस तरह से निशाना बनाया गया? हो सकता है उनकी जगह कल कोई और होता, या कोई डेवटी होता, कोई हम में से बहुत लोग हैं, सब धर्म के लोग गोल्डन टेम्पल जाते हैं, मैं खुद कितनी बारी जाती हूँ, और आपको ये टारगेटेड, it was Badal was the target, Mr. Badal was the target. Why is he being targeted according to you?
नॉट ओनली बादल टारगेट, ये क्षेत्रीय पार्टी टारगेट पर है। ये पंजाब की क्षेत्रीय पार्टी को खत्म करने की साजिश है। ये एक हिंदू सिख भाईचारे पर हमला है। ये खाली सुखबीर बादल पर अटैक नहीं, मैं समझता हूँ ये ना अकेले सुखबीर बादल पर अटैक नहीं है, ये हिंदू सिख भाईचारे पर भी अटैक है, ये आस्था के स्थान पर भी अटैक है, ये श्रद्धा के ऊपर भी अटैक है। आप देखिए, एक सेवादार पर उस पर हमला हो रहा है जो सर्वोच्च स्थान है अकाल तख्त, तो उसके निर्देश पर वो सेवा कर रहा है, सेवादारा गेट पर बैठा है। हमने उस लीडर ने पूरी पार्टी के सरकार दौरान, पार्टी के दौरान जो कुछ भी गलतियां हुई उनको सबको अपनी झोली में डालकर अकाल तख्त के आगे पेश हुए हैं, एक बिल्कुल सिख की निमाने सिख की तरह पेश हुए हैं, और अकाल तख्त ने जो सजा लगाई वो भुगत रहे हैं। अब ये सजा भुगत रहे सेवादार पर हमला है, ये एक श्रद्धावान सिख पर हमला है, ये हिंदू सिख भाईचारे पर हमला है। मैं समझता हूं कि हमें आज राजनीति से ऊपर उठकर इन लोगों को सोचना चाहिए कि हम पंजाब को किस दिशा में लेके जा रहे हैं, हम इस स्टेट को, इस देश को किस दिशा में लेके जाना चाहते हैं। जो लोग उनके हाँ उसके साथ खड़े हैं आज, जो लोग उनकी हाँ में हाँ मिला रहे हैं, मैं समझता हूं कि उनको भी सोचना चाहिए। ये आने वाली पीढ़ियों का सवाल है कि हम आने वाली पीढ़ियों को क्या देके जा रहे हैं। सरकारें बनती रहेंगी, आती जाती रहेंगी, लोग हारते जीते रहेंगे। इन चीजों को पॉलिटिक्स से ऊपर देखने की जरूरत है कि हम आने वाली पीढ़ी को क्या देके जा रहे हैं, हम उन लोगों को किस तरह की विरासत उनके लिए छोड़ के जा रहे हैं।
मैं कार्यक्रम में बाद में आई वुड ऑल्सो लाइक टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड एक्सप्लेन टू आवर ऑडियंस दिस आइडिया ऑफ द सेवा दैट इज बीइंग परफॉर्म टू अटोन फॉर व्हाट द अकाल तख्त हैज हेल्ड टू बी मिस्टेक्स ऑफ द अकाली दल। लेकिन अभी बात करते हैं ऑफ दैट असैसिनेशन बिड। Yashovardhan Azad, according to police officials, the shooter who was restrained is somebody linked to the Babar Khalsa. Can we divorce this from the kind of tensions we have seen between India and Canada on the Khalistan question, the open threats from men like Gurpatwant Pannun over the last few months? How do we understand the timing, Yasho, of this attack?
Well, Barkha, according to me, I would look at it from 3 points of view. First is, I wouldn't say that this is a kind of an attack on Hindu-Sikh amity or an attack on the Golden Temple, sanctity. I think this is a kind of an attack to become a hero, to attack somebody, Sukhbir Badal, who was declared a Tankhaiya, who's being punished by the Golden Temple for the so-called acts between 2007 and 17, sacrilege, blasphemy, etc., etc. This man, mind you, has emerged from the hideout of Babar Khalsa archives, and suddenly comes out and wants to become a hero. So that would be one. One should really interrogate him and find out what is the actual reason. The second is, yes, of course, what you mentioned. Is this somehow coordinated by our friends abroad? Some of them have been very, very voluble. Some of them have been spitting venom even against our Prime Minister. So this could be linked with that. And if it is, then it's a kind of an explosive kind of a combination which needs to be looked into very seriously. And the third, I would look at it from another point of view, which is even more dangerous, which is that, we've had some of these cases of the resurgence of the so-called Khalistan activity, some of the people, some of the sympathizers, being seen in certain incidents. And if this is a kind of an emergence of one of the ex-PKI International, given the situation in Punjab today, and not too many people are very happy about it in the sense of, control of unstable politics, unstable law and order, unstable border with drones dropping in, drugs and weapons and things like that. So I think that is another way to look at it. And in all respects, if you see, it's a kind of vulnerability which I see, which needs to be addressed very quickly
And,
and
and, and, and I think you made three important points. One, that we don't know if there is a linkage to the kind of characters who have been making open threats from Canadian soil. We
yes.
don't know yet if this is a kind of resurgence of extremist elements of the kind that we thought we buried in the past. But let's also remember that Amritpal Singh is now a member of parliament while still being in jail. That is important to remember. And the third is that you're saying that there's a kind of vulnerability in Punjab that is wrenching open fault lines. And while there is no popular support at all surveys show for the Khalistan so-called cause, these vulnerabilities need to be taken seriously. Now, I want to bring in Chander, and finally, I'll go to Professor Kumar for his take. Chander, Sharma ji attacked the Punjab government. He said that this points to a certain degree of incompetence. Of course, the police will answer, has been speaking, and they will say that the man was restrained. But how did somebody get in with a gun inside the most sacred, shrine for Sikhs worldwide? I mean, how is this man? Gunshots have gone off in the Golden Temple. Let us not underplay what has happened today.
Yeah. Well, firstly, because it's such a holy shrine, frisking of the pilgrims who go in is never done. So in this case, there was massive security around Sukhbir Badal, which was his own security also. He is entitled to Z plus security. Besides, the Punjab police was present there in plain clothes. So in fact, this person who stopped Narayan Singh Chora's bullet from actually hitting Sukhbir Badal was a Punjab police constable, an ASI, who just saw what was happening, and he attacked him. He caught hold of him and diverted the bullet. So there was plenty of Punjab police around in plain clothes. There was good amount of security. Now, as to how a weapon could go in, well, firstly, the people, all the devotees, they were not being frisked for the simple reason because they never are frisked when they go to the Golden Temple or probably a lot of other religious places of worship. I'm sure this would be the similar thing. Unless, of course, there was a threat perception, because in any case, Sukhbir Badal is entitled to Z plus security for this very reason, because there is a threat around his life for various reasons. He's been in politics for so long. He's a Sikh politician, and there are various other factors because of which he is vulnerable. So that is probably there. But of course, I think the police would have to look into this deeply. Would inquire into was it a one-off isolated incident, by a misguided former militant, because he was reasonably high up in the hierarchy. He is not some low level gun toting militant. He's written books. He's deeply religious, he is said to be, and he's been with several organizations, the Akal Federation, the Babar Khalsa, and various others. So one reason could be, of course, I mean, everybody knows that the quantum of punishment which was handed out by the Akal Takht to Sukhbir Badal and the other Akalis, it has generally been accepted in Punjab. Most people say that, well, it's fine and it's okay. But the radical elements, the extremist Sikhs, the Khalistanis, if you may call them that, they have always been at odds with the moderate Akali Dal, and they probably feel that the quantum wasn't enough. That the Akal Takht should have cracked down in a more severe form onto.
So you're saying, and Mr. Azad also made this a point as a possibility. You're saying that Sukhbir Badal in particular could have been targeted precisely because of the so-called mistakes that he's being punished for by the Akal Takht, and we'll get into those mistakes, I think, with Professor Pramod. Pramod ji, how do you look at what has happened? You see, there are three different strands, and I think Yasho identified them. One is what is happening within Punjab. And I think all surveys show that there is no popular support for Khalistan. But there is the phenomena of an Amritpal Singh becoming a member of parliament, for instance. Two is what has been happening between India and Canada, where Khalistani groups have been making brazen threats against India, against civilians, against the Modi government, and so on. And third is this idea of sacrilege, of mistakes, of atoning for sins, of the entire debate around blasphemy, beadbi, and this could be a manifestation of that. And maybe all three overlap somewhere. How do you see what's happening, Pramodji?
Uh, to me, I mean, the first thing is that the whole idea of shrinking of space for the moderate politics within Punjab is continuous phenomena. And yesterday, verdict of Akal Takht has also restricted the space of the moderate politics, where basically you take all people along, maybe Sikhs and Hindus and the Dalits. So that space is shrinking. And the background, I mean, which you have mentioned, I fully agree that the legitimacy to these ideas and justification is global, where the whole idea is justified and it is globalized and acquired a new legitimacy. I see the re-emergence, or rather emergence post 1997 phase is now ending, where the whole question of Punjabi identity, Punjabiyat became dominant in Punjab. Now that space is getting shrinked. So I think that's one, I mean, which is providing a large space for the militants to acquire justification for the kind of so-called sins which Akal Takht said that Mr. Badal has committed or his cabinet has committed. So they have found justification and they made him a target. So which means, to my mind, is a moderate politics which is being made target by the radical politics. And the justification is global. Justification is from within, I mean, Punjab also. And third is within Punjab, the declining political and economic hegemony of a section of society which used to be very dominant, the Jat peasantry, the Sikhs. I mean, they ruled Punjab since, I mean, mid-60s. Now, all of a sudden, they found that space, the power space, has declined. Their economic power is also
But
going down.
Pramodji, I have to ask you something. You make a very powerful point. You say the target was Badal, yes, but the target was in fact moderate politics by radical
Moderate
politics,
politics. Yeah.
which today is acquiring global recognition or glorification from groups such as the ones that operate out of Canada. But why is it that when large sections of the population, the people of Punjab, have no interest in Khalistan, why is there a shrinking space for moderate politics? The Pew survey shows you that 95% of Sikhs polled in Punjab have zero interest or affiliation with the idea of Khalistan. So why is the space for moderate politics shrinking? Why is moderate politics being made a target, Pramodji?
Because the radicals, I mean, when they acquire new tongue or the gun, I mean, getting legitimacy, naturally they will assert. And they have a global sport, they have a sport, I mean, within Punjab, the fringe elements. So they are finding justification and legitimacy. So naturally they would like to expand their space. And the other, I mean, since it is a faction-ridden Akali Dal, a weak Akali Dal, and also all other political parties, I remember in 60s, in early phase of 80s, when all other political parties were fighting each other, they were not fighting, I mean, the threat of radicals. And what we found that Punjab was totally, I mean, taken over by the radicals. So I still find, I mean, since the political class has not, I mean, didn't come together to fight for example, victory of Amritpal. I basically see that that's the beginning of acceptance of a particular thought. It may be one constituency. And the second constituency where Byan Singh's son, I mean, won the election. I again find, I mean, the legitimacy of that particular thought, which basically, and here, the modern politics led by Akali Dal, Badal, Sukhbir Badal, they opposed it. The only party which was openly opposing Amritpal and, I mean, the Byan Singh was Akali Dal. They didn't support, I mean, these two, I mean, people in their constituency. There was pressure that you support them and you can gather more votes. So there, I think that somewhere some other forces are also active to see that this idea of radicalization. And you remember at that point, the Congress party, in order to decimate, Gyani Jail Singh led that movement to decimate, I mean, Akali Dal, started Guru Gobind Singh Marg and all other things so that they can acquire the Akali space and the Sikh space. Similarly, in Punjab also, you find, I mean, political parties trying to acquire that space and want to, I mean, make, somebody mentioned about these regional parties little more and weak so that they are unable to assert and fight for the cause, local cause, I mean, of the Sikhs and also of the Punjabis. But here is a caveat. Caveat is that there is a major challenge for the Akali Dal now. Either they fall back to the Panthing space or they avail this opportunity to reclaim their moderate space, which means by being Akali Sikh centric, they have to, articulate the demands, aspirations, and also rights of the Hindus and the Dalits and the multicultural rights. If they don't do that, they will be further
Yeah.
decimated. The
I,
radical politics will take over.
I think it's very useful that you remind us that Amritpal Singh is a member of parliament and Beyant Singh, convicted for Indira Gandhi's assassination, son, has now been able to enter the mainstream, and the Akali Dal opposed both of these. But what will the Akali Dal do now? I think that's something Mr. Sharma and the panel should answer. But before that, I want to just play out for you the clips we saw. Now, remember, most of these videos have been captured by devotees who were there, and you can hear their shock as they're witnessing these gunshots go off in the Golden Temple. Let's take a look, and we'll come right back to the panel.
कई जो विरोधी ने वो कह रहे हैं कि ये सजा जी है थोड़ी होर करड़ी जी सी वो हो सकती सी, लेकिन सुखबीर सिंह बादल लगातार ही गोली मारन की कोशिश जी है वो की गई है। सुखबीर सिंह बादल नूं गोली मारन की कोशिश जी है वो की गई है। तुसीं देख सकते हो कि सुखबीर सिंह बादल नूं गोली मारन की कोशिश जी है की गई है। तुसीं देख सकते हो कि ये गोली मारन की कोशिश जी है सुखबीर।
So obviously the reporter or the observer doing the commentary, Yasho, I'll start with you, is talking about the penance, and suddenly the guns go off, and obviously he panics, but he captures it on camera. And when you see, for all of us who've been to the Golden Temple, I mean, it's right, it's happening right there. This is not out on the street, right? And we cannot underplay the import of what has happened. We cannot sweep this under the carpet. And that Pramod ji has reminded us that yes, there is no popular support, but at the same time, radical politics is in danger of returning. How do you look at that?
No, I would always maintain, Barkha, that the radical fringe which is there always gathers support of some of these misguided youngsters, some of these deeply religious hardliners. And if you see in this case also, there is a great interplay between religion and politics. And, we go back to that, era where how much religion influences the political establishments. After all, the Akal Takht is punishing Badal for the anti-Sikh Panth activities between 2007 and 17. So this is something to look at also. It has a larger portent than a very limited one. Number two, I would certainly, hats off to that ASI Punjab police. I just learned now from the professor that, she's he is a Punjab police ASI. He has done an amazing work, because the way I saw him reacting, the fellow, and he was just a little slow. And this man raised it at the right level. That's exactly the way, you're supposed to do it. And he did it so cleanly that, hats off to this man. He deserves really the best. And I'll tell you another thing, this has saved a major crisis in Punjab, a major crisis, because as very rightly mentioned by the earlier speaker, about the victory of Amritpal Singh, the radical fringe which we are talking about, Beyant Singh, there is always that attractive group which is around. And I'll tell you, this has more takers. If there'll be more fighting such elections, they will get more and more support. The question is, we can manage these activities. We cannot root them out completely. So if we have Punjab safe today, yes, it's because of the 80% of the Sikhs and Hindus who have nothing to do with Khalistan. But on the other hand, we have to always keep in mind that such incidents can get a fillip with these kind of activities. And lastly, Golden Temple. I think there's another very significant message which this gentleman wanted to give. And that was in favor of the so-called, he wants to be the closest follower of the Sikh Panth, a real Sipah Salar, by killing a person who was indulging in so-called anti-Panthic activities. That is another message we should always keep in mind, that there are people like this in Punjab waiting for a chance.
Very important points being made, Sharma ji. I think for the Akali Dal, now what next? There is also a debate before this assassination bid. Should the Akal Takht be deciding who is, morally accountable? Nobody asks these questions. In this assassination bid, the main question is, you see, all our attention is, of course, naturally shifted to who was this gunman? Why did he target Sukhbir Badal? Gunshots went off in Golden Temple. But before this, we have seen, and if we can play some of these pictures, we have seen Harsimrat Kaur, among those, former union minister, offering seva, washing utensils. We have seen Bibi Jagir Kaur sweeping the floors. We have seen Sukhbir Badal offering seva. Nothing wrong with seva, nothing wrong. The wonderful thing about the Sikh faith is the idea of seva. But this seva is being done not from a voluntary sense of atonement, but because Akal Takht ne तय किया है कि भाई ये करना ही पड़ेगा. Is this a healthy trend? शर्मा जी, is this a healthy trend?
देखिए, ये सिख पंथ में शिरोमणि दल जो अकाल तख्त है उसकी सुपर पावर उसको समझा जाता है। ये सिख पंथ के लिए है। वो किसी जो हिंदू है या कोई मुस्लिम है, क्रिश्चियन है, या कोई दाढ़ी भी काटता है, कलर भी करता है बालों को, उसको वो हुक्म नहीं सुनाती। वो सिर्फ उसी को हुक्म सुनाता है अकाल तख्त, जो पूर्ण रूप से गुरसिख है। और उन्होंने ये जो सजा का तरीका जो उन्होंने अपनाया, बहुत देर से महाराजा रणजीत सिंह को भी यहाँ कोड़े लगे हैं। यहाँ बहुत लोगों को, बूटा सिंह, जैल सिंह जी और बहुत लोगों को यहाँ ऐसे सजा मिली है। ये सजा का एक ढंग ये है कि वो लोग पश्चाताप करें अपनी गलतियों का और वो सेवा करें, उस परमात्मा के साथ जुड़े। इसका पीछे तो रीजन ये है, बेसिक बात जो है। मैं अपनी को-पैनलिस्ट की इस बात से तो सहमत हूं कि ये लड़ाई नरमपंथी और गर्मपंथियों के बीच में है। अब पंजाब ने ये सोचना है कि पंजाब के लिए, देश के लिए वो गर्मपंथी सूट करते हैं या नरमपंथी सूट करते हैं। एक चीज आपने पीछे कई दिनों से सुना होगा, कांग्रेस में भी और बीजेपी ने भी, सब पार्टियों ने एक चीज कही है, सबके बयान आए हैं कि श्रोमणी अकाली दल का कमजोर होना पंजाब के लिए नुकसानदेह है। उसका बेसिक रीजन यही कहने का उनका है। रमनीत जी का भी बयान आया, बिट्टू जी का जो एमपी हैं, जाखड़ साहब का भी बयान आया है कि श्रोमणी अकाली दल का कमजोर होना पंजाब के लिए नुकसानदेह है। वो क्यों कह रहे हैं? वो इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि जब भी श्रोमणी अकाली दल का ये जो नरमपंथी धड़ा है ये कमजोर होगा तो कुदरती बात है जो गर्मपंथी है वो हावी होंगे, और उनका हावी होना ये संकेत है, पीछे हुआ है। नो डाउट श्रोमणी अकाली दल कमजोर हुआ है, इसमें कोई मुझे कहने में ग्रेज नहीं है। वो चाहे हमारी गलतियां हैं, चाहे लीडर्स की गलतियां, चाहे कुछ भी है, हम कमजोर तो हुए हैं, इसमें हमारा खुद का दोष है। उस दोष को एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए आज ये सारा कुछ हो रहा है कि हम अपने आप को सुधारें। हम जब तक अपने आप को नहीं सुधारेंगे तब तक गर्मपंथी हावी होते रहेंगे, जो पंजाब के लिए भी, चाहे वो कनाडा के साथ रिलेशन है, वो कनाडा में कर रहे हैं, यहां कर रहे हैं। सवाल तो ये है कि पंजाब का नुकसान कौन कर रहा है? इस देश का नुकसान गर्मपंथी कर रहे हैं, नरमपंथी कर रहे हैं? अगर गर्मपंथी कर रहे हैं तो पूरे मुल्क को, पूरे देश को एक आवाज देनी होगी कि ये देश के लिए घातक है, देश के लिए, स्टेट के लिए कौन ठीक है। ये बीजेपी ने भी समझ लिया, कांग्रेस ने भी समझ लिया, जिनके बयान आए हैं कि श्रोमणी अकाली दल का कमजोर होना पंजाब के लिए नुकसानदेह है। इसलिए मैं समझता हूं कि ये हीरो बनने की कोशिश, जैसे मेरे को पैनलिस्ट ने कहा है कि उसने हीरो बनने की कोशिश किया, देखो ये हीरो बनने की जो कोशिश है उनकी, उन लोगों को ये देखिए कि पंजाब के अंदर, देश के अंदर मैसेज क्या जा रहा है। जब बीजेपी और श्रोमणी अकाली दल का आपस में तालमेल हुआ था, वो लंबा चला था, उसका बेसिक रीजन, उसके पीछे ये सोच थी, वाजपेयी साहब की सोच थी और सरदार प्रकाश सिंह बादल की सोच थी कि सारे भाईचारे को मैसेज आए कि हिंदू सिख पंजाब के अंदर एक है, और श्रोमणी अकाली दल तकड़ा हुआ था उन दिनों में। आज जो पंजाब के अंदर जो गिरावट आई है, मैं समझता हूं कि अमृतपाल जी का जीतना, मैं स्पष्ट रूप से कहना चाहता हूं, और बेअंत सिंह के बेटे का जीतना, ये पंजाब के लिए कोई अच्छा मैसेज नहीं है। और वहां देख, श्रोमणी अकाली दल ऐसी पार्टी है जिसने डटकर इनका विरोध किया, और किसी पार्टी ने खुलकर इनका विरोध नहीं किया। वो उसका कारण यही है कि हम किस दिशा में पंजाब को लेके जाना चाहते हैं। ये आज हर पंजाब के जो वेल विशर हैं,
आप एक तरह से कह रहे हैं कि जो एक अकाली दल था, इट वाज एबल टू अब्सॉर्ब सम ऑफ द सेंटिमेंट्स दैट आर टुडे गेटिंग मोर एक्सट्रीम आउटसाइड ऑफ द अकाली दल, और वो और भी एक्सट्रीम हो गए हैं, और अकाली दल का वीक होने से एक्सट्रीमिज्म बढ़ी है, राइट? शर्मा जी, आप in a way you are saying this. I think Pramod ji, you made this point, and then I'll come to Chander, that Akali Dals did oppose Amritpal Singh, they did oppose Beant Singh's son, but the cynical argument would be that in a way, if I take a Kashmir parallel, there are mainstream parties that, let's say the PDP. The PDP was considered to be a buffer, a kind of soft separatism within the constitution. that it could absorb some of the more extreme sentiment. And in a way, I think what Sharma ji is saying is when the Akali Dal was strong, it was able to mainstream that, located within mainstream politics. Today, it's no longer within mainstream politics. But I am still failing to understand the disconnect between what people want and what shape the politics is taking. How is that happening?
You are very rightly said, because if we see earlier, there were two bridges which Akali Dal used to make. One bridge with the radical elements which Gurcharan Singh Toda used to make. Another bridge with the Hindus which Badal used to make. The two bridges with the two, and then Akali Dal used to function, which means they used to navigate two extremes and then bring them into the moderate space, accommodate their interests, and weaken them. And what has happened is with the Akal Takht yesterday, what the question which you raised, they have, I mean, it's their job, I mean, to dictate, give their dictates in Sikh Panthic domain. It is for the Akali Dal to see how they will balance the Panthic and the secular domain. It is challenge for them. It is Akal Takht has to do its job. They are a historic institution which is there, I mean, to dictate that Sikh interest, how it is to be protected. And that is why the kind of charges they levied, they're very interesting, as Mr. Azad was mentioning. If you go through those charges, how a coalition cabinet, which was a cabinet of BJP and Akali Dal, can be summoned there, and then they are told that these decisions you have taken, and say yes or no, whether they are right or wrong. I mean, it's for the Akal Takht to do it. They have done it. But the job for the Akali Dal, the challenge before Akali Dal, that how after coming out of this crisis, they are able to navigate this, I mean, wedge between the Panthic and the secular domain, the multicultural domain, the Punjabiyat domain of Punjab. And I think that they will be able to meet the challenge, one hopes. Otherwise, I mean, we are sliding down and making legitimate radical politics more legitimate and getting global support. And it will be very difficult, I mean, to control.
Chander, if you want to add to that, again, the point that Pramodji makes, that the Akali Dal did stand against an Amritpal. Till now, nobody has understood. Amritpal literally came out of nowhere. And he, if we remember, his first attack on a police station in Punjab was on the so-called allegation of blasphemy or beadbi, right? Now, we are, and I say this more passionately because I am a Punjabi, and Punjab is my home state, and I feel like we are not being honest about how we have allowed this politics around blasphemy and sacrilege to carry on without calling it out. This politics is sowing the seeds of extremism.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, this is the first time when the Akal Takht listed everything out and made it clear, categorically asked everyone. I think it was aired properly, and as you're saying that this is when it was called out. Otherwise, it was always being spoken about behind the scenes. Even the media would just hint at it and not really talk about it very clearly. So yes, this was badly needed, and the Akal Takht actually made things black and white clear before the Panth, as they say, before the population. But at the same time, you also have to see uh, that the Akali Dal and the top leadership submitted itself without demur before the Akal Takht. For people who say that, well, for the Akal Takht to behave in this medieval fashion, so to say, and they could have done it in a more in a different manner. Possibly they did not need to make a spectacle out of it, etc. But the Akali Dal did it willingly, the top leadership, and answered everything very humbly, as is the tradition in the Sikh Panth. So when you see the party which has always championed the interests of the Sikhs, let's say, even though it became a Punjabi party after 1997, yet it has always been perceived or looked upon as a party of the Sikhs. So when we see them bowing before the Akal Takht and doing everything, whatever has been said, I think a lot of things are clear that it will continue to be a party of the Sikhs, even though they might like to again expand itself and talk about Punjabiyat, because if again, as they say, that everything, all the problems with Ram Rahim and this quest to expand the vote bank to the non-Sikhs, all that started from 1997. So I think there has to be a major rethink. Whether it will continue, as Dr. Pramod said, this is where things lie at present.
Yeah, it's actually quite serious, and I feel it's an undertold story of our country. It's not getting enough attention. I have to take final comments. Sharma ji, let's start with you. Which direction is the Akali Dal going to go in? I mean, maybe it's not an easy question to answer right now.
बिल्कुल ठीक है, इजी नहीं है अभी, बट श्रोमणी अकाली दल ही एक ऐसी पार्टी है जो सबको साथ लेके चल सकती है। उसका खामियाजा भी आज भुगतना पड़ रहा है ये, क्योंकि जैसे अब मेरे को पेरेंट्स ने कहा कि वो नरमपंथी और गर्मपंथी, बात वहीं खड़ी होती है आके। ये देखना पड़ेगा कि क्या ये तरीका गोली वाला ठीक है या लोगों के बीच रहने का ठीक है, लोगों के अंदर भाईचारे का संदेश देने का ठीक है।
नहीं सर, गोली वाला तरीका तो ठीक नहीं है ना, इसमें तो कोई दो व्यूज नहीं है। मतलब
नहीं, कुछ लोग इसको ठीक समझते हैं,
कुछ लोग, लेकिन हम लोग तो नहीं ठीक समझते इसको। ये देश के लोग इसको ठीक नहीं समझते, देन श्रोमणी अकाली दल इज ओनली अल्टरनेटिव। क्योंकि नरमपंथी सिर्फ श्रोमणी अकाली दल हिंदू सिख पिछले 10 साल जब सरकार चली है तो इसने दिखा दिया है कि हिंदू सिख को साथ लेके श्रोमणी अकाली दल चल सकता है। और नरमपंथी रास्ता जो सही रास्ता है, जो पिछले हिंदू सिख भाईचारे की जो मिसाल श्रोमणी अकाली दल ने पैदा की, अगर वो इस पे चलेंगे, मैं ये नहीं कह सकता, अगर इस पे चलेंगे हम तो ज्यादा लोगों के साथ हम राब्ता कायम करेंगे। श्रोमणी अकाली दल मजबूत इस तरीके से हो जब सबको साथ लेके चलेगा। अगर सबको साथ लेके नहीं हम चलेंगे तो मजबूत हो ही नहीं पाएंगे। इसमें हर एक की भावना का ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा। ठीक है डॉक्टर प्रमोद, बट इज इट सो इजी कि सबको साथ लेके चलो? वी आर इन अ फ्रैगमेंटेड पॉलिटिक्स इन पंजाब। सॉरी, यू वांट टू ऐड? हाँ बोलिए शर्मा जी।
यस, मैं ये ऐड करना चाहता हूं कि पिछले 10 सालों में सरदार प्रकाश सिंह बादल की लीडरशिप में पंजाब ये दिखा दिया गया था कि ऐसे चला जा सकता है। अमृतपाल का रास्ता पंजाब अडॉप्ट नहीं करना चाहता, पंजाब वही शांति का रास्ता अडॉप्ट करना चाहता है। उसकी पहरेदार सिर्फ श्रोमणी अकाली दल ही है।
Pramod ji, every political party will claim to represent the aspirations of the Punjabi people, Punjab's people. My question is, in this fragmented polity, there are multiple parties in Punjab. There is the Aam Aadmi Party, there is the Congress, there is the BJP, there is the Akali Dal. There are solo players like Amritpal, and so on. And there are other smaller parties. Is fragmented politics में कौन सबको साथ लेके चलेगा?
To my mind, I think Akali Dal has a capacity to take people along. They have a good experience, as has been mentioned. Since 1997, they have been operating in a Punjabi domain. And you know the resolution which was passed then, the resolution was that all the demands of Punjab, all the discriminations of Punjab will be from today onwards seen as discrimination against Punjabis, not Sikhs. And this is number one. Number two, if they continue with that, they can occupy more space. Second, within Sikhism also, that it continue to remain a predominantly Sikh party, and they can follow Guru Nanak Dev's, the kind of a message which he has given. It's much easier because Punjabi Hindu is a 50% Sikh, 25% Arya Samaji, and 25% Sanatani. It's very easy, to take him along on a message which comes from Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So I think that it has a long tradition of taking people along. So humanism, rather than Sikh rights, it's a human rights. That has to be the focus. And some of the people talk about only Sikh rights and then say that Sikhs were discriminated against. No, the whole terrorism phase, Hindus were also discriminated, the Dalits were also, and even the Sikhs. So it was not a black day only for the Sikhs. It was for all of us. When Operation Blue Star happened, we were also pained. We were also felt that something wrong has happened. So there was a consensus, and that is the difference between Canada and this place. Here, we feel concerned about, there is a consensus against Operation Blue Star. In Canada, it is not. Only the Sikhs think that as if they are the only people, they feel about it. But here in Punjab, Sikhs and Hindus and the Dalits all feel that something wrong happened. So there's a difference between that Punjab, which I consider normally may become another Khalistan, in Brampton or somewhere. So we have already imported, Khalistan there. And I hope that Khalistan will not be a reality in Punjab, but the Akali Dal has to be very cautious, has to face this challenge, and consciously, now they have to make an extra effort to bring different sections along with them. Otherwise, I think we are in for some kind of a anarchy or a turmoil in the coming few years.
Yes, I think it's very interesting. I want to end with Azad as Dr. Pramod Kumar reminds us of the Canada issue that, Khalistan has been exported. It's been sent to Canada. Let them have it. Let Brampton be Khalistan. But we cannot get complacent. While we are raging at Canada for its patronage of men like Gurpatwant Pannun and so on, we have to also look within and not allow a revisiting of history. There are shades. All of us are old enough to remember those years in Punjab. And वो छोटी सी चीज से ही शुरू होती है ये चीजें. What would concern you right now, Yasho, as we leave the program?
Yeah, first, of course, very well spoken by Dr. Pramod. I would suggest two things. I would say that Prakash Singh Badal taking the advantage of the Sukhbir Singh Badal taking the advantage of this assassination attempt can be the symbol of a fight against extremist ideologies. Because here is an attack by an ex-Babbar Khalsa linked with perhaps, so many things, maybe the Canada link, maybe the extremist link. And here is a clear fight between the two ideologies in which Sukhbir Singh Badal, his father has been, of course, the father figure for Punjab politics. And I totally agree with my co-panelists that he's the man who can bring some kind of moderation in politics. And besides, the very fact that 95% of people have rejected Khalistan, here is an opportunity again for SAD to come up. But to come up, it needs to bring in a lot of other things. The fight against drugs, the fight against those fraud manpower gangs which are sending, people abroad, the fight for more employment. Because apparently what is happening in Punjab today, it is in huge debt. It is in a farm crisis. It is in so many things. These are the issues to take up. And I feel, Barkha, towards the end, I think this point was mentioned by Mrs. Chander also, that somehow, somewhere, extreme religion has to be dissociated with politics. But that will come with good governance, and that will come with good, impression amongst the people of managing things in Punjab better.
If anything needs to be taken away, Pramodji, are you trying to add something? Pramodji? Can we unmute Dr. Pramod?
That
yes,
in 2012, for the first time in the history of Punjab, Akali Dal and BJP government was repeated. Because they fought that election on governance and development plank.
Yes.
And that is the lesson, they must learn. If they continue to remain in that governance and the development plank, follow it, as he also rightly pointed out, I think that the religious forces will not be that strong and they will become weak. They will not get support from unemployed youth and others.
I was just going to say that the only lesson that can be taken away from the shocking developments at the Golden Temple today is exactly this. Religion and politics will always make for a lethal cocktail, and it will come back to poison those who make that drink. And that should be a lesson for every single politician in this country. Thank you very much, Chander, Suta, Dogra, Azad, Dr. Pramod Kumar, and KP Sharma ji. Namaskar. Thank you. And we're glad that Sukhbir Badal is safe. And as Azad said, may this renew the fight against religious extremism. Thank you to our audience for watching. See you tomorrow. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.